What's up, guys? If you're here checking out this video, you must be here trying to find out the best ways to get into a good boarding group. Well, I've got all the ways that you need to know, and we're going to check those ways out right now. Here we go.
My Disney Experience app, or with the assistance of the guest experience team located throughout the park. Please note.
All right, guys, so step number one is getting into the park on time. So what that means is, depending on what time the park's opening, for instance, right now, the park opens at 8 o'clock. So at 8 o'clock, you have to be scanned completely into the park. You and all of your party have to be into that park at 8 o'clock. So my advice would be be in the park or in the parking lot around 7:30. That gives you about a half an hour to get through security, wait in line, get checked in, and actually get into the park, and then find your area where you want to be to do the next step in the process, which are going to help you get into a boarding group, into a much lower boarding group. All right, so now we're on to step two. Step two is going to be to run a speed test on your phone and find a spot that works for you. Whatever service you have, wherever the best speed that you're getting uploads and downloads, you want to have the highest signal quality you can and the best speeds that you can, and that's where you want to be for the 8 o'clock announcement to get a boarding pass. All right, guys, so step three is going to be optimizing your phone and getting it ready for the boarding group. So what we're going to do here is we're going to turn off the Wi-Fi, we're going to turn off the Bluetooth, we're going to turn off NFC. Anything that we can turn off that we don't need on that phone is going to help us. Then we're going to go into the system settings, we're going to clear the memory, we're going to optimize it, and also clear any of the extra data that doesn't need to be in there, basically. All right, and we're going to walk you through all that right now on screen record, just so you can see it live. That way you don't have any questions. All right, guys, so I'm going to go through some of the settings I was talking to you guys about. So we're going to drag down, move this bar over. We're going to go to our settings tab. Once we're in the settings, we're going to go to device care, battery, storage, and memory. This device is a Note 9 Samsung. It's pretty anonymous with any kind of Samsung stuff. So what we're looking for is memory. So we're going to click on memory. When it goes into memory, you can see that I'm using a lot of memory right now, and that's going to slow the phone down. So I'm going to clean this, and it's going to close out some of the stuff that just does not need to be up. It's going to make the phone faster. Okay, so once we've done that, we can go out of there, back to the home screen. If you drag this down and then drag your menu bar down, you'll have a thing over here that says battery mode. And if you kind of hold that, it's going to go into your performance modes. Now, I'm in high performance. That's because I left it in there from yesterday. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be in battery saving or anything like that. Right now, be in there basically where it's going to be killing all the apps manually, so that the phone is going to run as quickly as possible. All right, so step number four is when you pick a spot, you want to be away from people. We have found that when we're in a group of people, like where the group of people stand for Toy Story Mania, I'll try to put a picture up, that group of people is going to slow down your service. So you have to figure that this ride system is based on signals coming in and out. So the more people that you're grouped with, the harder it is to signify your signal from somebody else's signal, and it's just too much information coming into one spot. So we have found that when we stand away from people, we get a much better result, and it shows obviously in our boarding groups. All right, guys, so step number five is kind of a multi thing. So if you're going with a group of people, you want to get your group of people to do the same thing. You want your phone to be optimized. You want them to check all their data. You want them to be as ready as you are. And then what we're going to do is that you want to try to get everybody in your group to join a boarding group. And whoever gets into a boarding group first can add everybody else. So if you have 4 people, let's say, that gives you 4 chances to get everybody into a boarding group rather than just one person trying to do this groups, it makes it much easier. So when me and Nicole go over, she tries to get us into a boarding group, I try to get us into a boarding group. So we have 2 chances, and one of us usually gets us into a good boarding group. Today it happened to be me. The last time I went, it happened to be her. So the odds are in your favor if you use more people. So with that out of the way, what we're doing now, the phones are optimized, everything's ready to go. We're waiting for that 8 o'clock announcement. At 8 o'clock, they're gonna come on and they're gonna make an announcement letting you know that the boarding group system is about to open. That is when you're gonna wanna open your My Disney Experience app. Once you've opened your My Disney Experience app, you can begin to toggle back and forth between the Rise of the Resistance boarding group page and the main page. And you're gonna keep toggling back and forth until join a boarding group lights up red. I'm also gonna show you this in the screen recording that I have. That way you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, here we go.
Welcome
Announcements
to
made. I'm
Hollywood
going into the app.
Studios. A virtual queue is being used for admission to the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance attraction. Guests hoping to confront the First Order in Star Wars Rise of the Resistance should join the virtual queue through the My Disney Experience app or with the assistance of the guest experience team located throughout the park. Please note, the virtual queue will be used for the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance attraction only.
Woo!
And does not apply to other shows and attractions at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Oh, feel
Thank you and enjoy your time here at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
With screen recording on.
Yeah, baby.
And I had to sign in. I went to go hit it. Listen, I went to go get in a boarding group and it was like, it had no password there. I had to put the password in. I was like, no. So as you're doing that, you're going to keep going back and forth, and when it lights up red, you're going to mash that button, and then you're going to add all your people into your group. Do not try to add somebody that's not into the park. It will not let you, and it's just going to slow you down. So don't do it. It's not worth it. There are ways around that, and I'll get to that in the next tip. So now you're in a boarding group. It's going to show you what boarding group you are. Hopefully, with these tips, you've made it into boarding groups 1 to 60. That is where you basically are guaranteed a spot on this ride. And after 60, you still have a pretty good chance of getting on this ride all the way up until probably about 100. Once you get to 100, it really depends on whether or not the ride goes down multiple times or if the ride is running smoothly. Under smooth conditions, we've seen the boarding groups go over 130, and in bad conditions, we've seen them not make it to 90. So it is a huge difference in if the ride went smoothly or didn't go smoothly. Hopefully with those tips and tricks that will help you. I have one more tip that you're really gonna wanna know, because this has saved us multiple occasions and it's super easy. All right guys, and for my final tip, it's just this. If you have an issue with the experience, if one of you gets into a boarding group but somebody didn't get added somehow, somebody didn't make it, whatever happens, doesn't really matter. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna go to a blue tent for the Disney Experience team. These people deal with problems all day long, okay? It's not their fault. So if you go over to a cast member in that section and you are just a normal human being and treat them like a human being and are kind to them and just explain to them what happened, what's going on, they're going to take care of you, okay? It's not that big of a deal. They deal with this all the time. So if you have an issue with the experience, as far as maybe somebody didn't make it on to the boarding group somehow or whatever have you, just go over and see one of the experienced people at the Disney Experience team and they will help you out. They're very awesome. The customer service at Disney is best as anyone I've ever seen. The customer service there is just phenomenal, and they are there to take care of their guests. But please, these people deal with problems all day long. Just don't be rude to them. If you go over there with a bad attitude, you're not going to get anything. I promise you, it's just not worth it. And all you're doing is making your trip miserable and their day miserable, and it just doesn't make it worth it for either one of you. So, with all that out of the way, you are on Rise of the Resistance. Congratulations, you've got a great boarding group and you're gonna have a great day at Hollywood Studios. It's gonna be an awesome ride. Now I'm gonna take you through some ride footage, some ride video, and some other cool stuff. All right guys, I appreciate you guys watching my video. Hopefully you got a great boarding pass. Please hit that like and subscribe button for me. It helps me out just like I'm helping you out, and I really appreciate it, and it helps me grow my channel and do more cool videos like this. So hopefully you guys will check out some of my other stuff, and hopefully you have a great day at Disney.
This ship is now under the command of the First Order. You will disembark now.